Okay, so I'm going to go through the basics of writing a program for our class using the example from the lesson of writing a knock-knock joke. So I'm going to start, and you'll start each of your programs this way. First, you create the program. It's print.py. Ignore this other stuff here. It's source control. We'll get to that next week. This blue circle with the number 1 in it indicates that I have unsaved changes in one file. So we'll start each, and these should be right up against the edge here. Shift tab does that for us. Summary is telling it that this is a summary of the program. This is where you'll document any, if you'll use an outside source, you need to put the link into it. So let's say, for example, if you're doing something that I haven't taught you yet, if I've already taught it to you, you do not need to do it. But let's say I want to cite this example on using quotes or something like that, which we haven't covered yet. I would copy the link, and I would put it in here. Reference used to learn to display quotes. You've got to cite your sources, because if you're using something that you haven't been taught yet, I'm going to assume that it's AI unless you cite where you got how to do that code from. You learned it somewhere. Nobody came into the class knowing Python. So if it's not something that we've already covered in class, you need to cite where you got that information, or it will be assumed to be academic dishonesty. But that's where you put it. I use ChatGPT to create the knock-knock joke. Can't use it for programming. You do not have to be a comedian. And so I have this knock-knock joke that I'm copying from here, but I got to give it credit. So normally you're going to get a share option right here. I'm not seeing it, so I'm going to ask you a new question. So it was letting us share by having a link up here, and it might in the free version still. But if I take this, let's copy. Okay, so just copy and paste your link here. As long as you're logged in, it will save it. It used to have an arrow for sharing the link that would share an easy way to do it, but I use a high-end paid-for version. So, knock, knock, joke from chat GPT, and I have now documented where I got my knock knock joke. And just to make my life easier, I'm going to temporarily put it here. I'm going to delete it once I've got it entered in. So I usually leave one blank line, and I'll put it in my print statement. Remember, with a print, it's a function, and then we can pass the text we want to print. Knock, knock. Print. And there's two ways to do this. So I'm doing it with an X. So since I'm using double quotes, a single quote will just work. Otherwise, we could put a slash in front of it. We couldn't put double quotes in there because it would end it, but it'll recognize the apostrophe inside of the double quotes. And we could also do this as a single statement. And it gives you all sorts of different options when we're using print statements that can help you learn. So I've written the code in here, but to make it appear correct, I'm going to run it once, and then I'm going to show you how to fix it. See, now it all appears on one line. We're going to use our escape clause to add in our new line symbol, which does not visually appear, but is at the end of each line. And that will make it display the way I want it to. So you'll do your own knock-knock joke following the pattern here, or you can do it all as separate lines, or you can do it all in one line if you'd like. But you need to create your own knock-knock joke.